There's a common misconception that IKEA home decor pieces are not built to last, but today I want to bust that myth for you and share with you some of my favorite long-lasting IKEA pieces, not only in my home, but in my vacation rental that have stood the test of time. And I'm talking 18 years for some of them. So let's get started. We're gonna begin with this piece right here. Now, this is my oldest IKEA piece that I have in my home. We bought this when Sean and I were first married. This is 18 years old. And if you're looking at something similar today, I think this was called the HEMNES back then, but it's very similar to the HEMNES line right now. It's a solid wood sideboard, and I have since painted it. I painted it about 2 years ago, and it is held up extremely well through moving from our little garage house to here. Painting it, I've used it as a TV cabinet. It's now our craft cabinet and sideboard in our living room, and it still looks and functions so well. If you're concerned about IKEA pieces, look for the solid wood pieces, because to me, these are going to stand the test of time better than the MDF or laminate pieces, usually. And if you're considering painting any IKEA pieces, even if they are laminate, just make sure to give them a light sanding first to kind of scuff them up. Use what's called a bonding primer. This is definitely something I recommend. I just buy the bonding primer from Home Depot, let that dry, and then paint. I use a latex paint on this one, but I would recommend using a cabinet and trim enamel for a bit of a harder surface. Now let's talk about my kitchen cabinets. I have shared these on the channel before, but I just love them so much. And I think they're such a great testament to how even inexpensive cabinets can look great after many years. Now, my kitchen cabinets are 11 years old. I haven't done anything to them over the last 11 years except swap out new hardware earlier this year, and we built a custom range hood and chose some paint to match the upper cabinet. I think when I talk to people about IKEA kitchens, and we've done them in our homes, we've done them in our vacation rental, we've done them for Sean's home renovation clients, they're a little bit concerned about the longevity of these cabinets, but I can say that mine still look great. They function great. What I think is important when installing an IKEA kitchen is to make sure you follow the directions exactly. Make sure you use the proper tools to assemble the cabinet. If you're unsure of assembling them yourself, you can get IKEA itself to assemble them for you, or you can find a contractor like my husband who will assemble IKEA cabinets for you. You can also use IKEA's kitchen cabinets to make other things. You don't have to use them just for your kitchen storage. I used a couple of their over-the-fridge cabinets to make this beautiful dining bench in our breakfast nook, and this has stood the test of time as well. I think this one is like 8 years old, and we sit on it every single day. And speaking of IKEA's kitchen cabinets, I've also used them as vanities in our bathrooms here in our home. What I like about using kitchen cabinets as bathroom cabinets is they're a bit deeper, so then you have a lot more storage in your bathroom. And what we do is we don't put a toe kick on them, we just set them right on the ground so that they're a nice height for when you want to do your makeup and hair, etc. We use these in our kids' bathroom and our own bathroom, and they've held up for over 11 years in the relatively humid environment. I did paint the cabinets in my girls' bathroom recently. We did use the bonding primer and some cabinet and trim enamel, and look at how amazing these look. I love paint for a simple makeover. There was nothing wrong with the cabinets before, but we just wanted a change, and paint is a great option. This here is my 11-year-old IKEA Farmhouse sink, and it still looks just as amazing as the day we installed it years ago. They don't have this exact sink in stock anymore, but they have a very similar white ceramic sink. I will link that and everything I'm mentioning in today's video, if they still have it, down in that description box below. This thing is huge. I have bathed babies in this. I love the dual sink option for our busy household. Plus, it's easy to clean. Now, I know that some people have hesitations about white sinks, and the one that we have in our vacation rental is hard to clean. This one's easy to clean. I use Barkeeper's Friend and just rub that into the sink if I see any of those gray scratch marks. Otherwise, I just use dish soap and a microfiber cloth. There's no chips, there's no stains, and I think it looks so fantastic. And who does not love the IKEA KALLAX units? The KALLAX units, don't know how to pronounce that, but we'll say KALLAX. Now, these are the classic square-shaped shelves that lots of people have been using for years. They used to be called something else. and they are fantastic for storage anywhere, whether it's your main floor, whether it's your kids' bedrooms, your own bedroom. I used a few of these units to make a little built-in look reading area for my daughter when she was younger, and then we reused those same exact shelves in her room when I gave her a preteen makeover last fall. They still look fantastic even after years and years of use in the home. These ones we've had for 8 years, and I love putting baskets inside. IKEA always has new baskets and bins that can fit into these units, which is a lot of fun when you want to give your space a little bit of a refresh. Now let's take a trip to my vacation rental. This is the little lake house that Sean and I renovated 3 years ago, and we host lots of people from all over the world here. So there's been hundreds and hundreds of families that have visited this space. So it gets a lot of wear and tear. This solid wood farmhouse table in the kitchen is 3 years old. It's seen a lot of people, a lot of crayon marks and forks and knives and all sorts of things. And to me, it still looks brand new. This is probably one of my favorite pieces ever from IKEA. Not only for its classic farmhouse looks, and it's kind of leaning towards that modern farmhouse aesthetic. So you could probably use it in even a modern home. It just is so durable. It looks great. It's very sturdy, and our guests often ask where it's from. I say IKEA and they are very surprised. It is very heavy and it looks amazing. The same goes for this bed frame in the primary bedroom of the lake house. It is also very sturdy, looks great, a little bit more on the modern bohemian look, but it's not wobbly. It stood the test of time for hundreds of guests again. We also have an IKEA mattress on this, and we've loved that as well. And I could not be happier with this bed frame. Just a little maintenance tip with bed frames and chairs. So those get used a lot. You always want to make sure to tighten up those bolts every now and then. And we especially make sure to do this in the vacation rentals. So just keep those Allen keys that your IKEA furniture comes with and tighten up those bolts. I'd say I do it seasonally, maybe a couple times a year if I'm feeling lazy, and that's going to really add to the longevity of your pieces. I'm truly obsessed with IKEA's HEMNES line. Now that's that solid wood line. It has very classic lines. I used an IKEA HEMNES TV stand to make this built-in look bench in our vacation rental. I painted that as well, and it still held up beautifully. It endures a lot of cleaning. It endures a lot of guests, and I think it still looks great. Nice and sturdy. Also used an IKEA HEMNES piece for the bathroom in the home, and I painted that as well, and it's also held up wonderfully. And again, just a reminder, if you're painting IKEA pieces, make sure to do the scuff sanding, the bonding primer, and the painting. I actually have a whole video on painting IKEA pieces, and I will leave that down in the description box below for you to check out. All right, so these slip covers and chairs are one of our newer additions in our home, but I still think they're worth a mention in this video because I love them so much. They're only about a year old, but I've been really impressed with how they have held up. And my kids do drop food all over these. There's been pen marks and things. So I did want a slip cover that I could wash. I love white and creams, which can be a little bit of a struggle when you have a busy family and kids that are a little bit messy and maybe adults that are a bit messy. But I've been pleasantly surprised with how these slip covers wash and how they have lasted so far. My little secret, and I've talked about this product so much, I'm gonna talk about it again, is when I wash them, I use OxiClean White Revive. And that's an oxygen bleach. I wash them every single time with this to keep them nice and white and get those little stains out. And then again, just like the bed frames, make sure to periodically tighten those bolts on these chairs so that they last, they don't wobble, and they're nice and solid. So there you have it, proof that even IKEA pieces can stand the test of time. And all of these pieces in my home and in my vacation rental are proof of that. Proper assembly, a little bit of maintenance, and maybe a little bit of creativity if you want to paint them up and really help your IKEA pieces stand the test of time. So if you're on the fence about IKEA, I encourage you to give any of these ones listed a try. They are my favorites that have proven to be long lasting and pieces that I still love today. Not only do I love IKEA furniture, I also love taking their home decor pieces and playing around with them and doing some IKEA hacks to make them into something useful for my home. So I'm gonna leave a video for you to watch next with all of my absolute favorite budget-friendly IKEA hacks. I'm gonna leave it right up here for you to watch.